So you want to paint portraits, and you want to paint portraits, then you probably want to watch this video. All right, this video is hopefully gonna teach you a little bit how to paint skin, and I'm saying a little bit because you're about to find out why. All right, you see, for oil painting, there are two things that I personally would say that are the hardest things, right? Proportions are hard. If you just started painting, getting the proportions right in portraits is pretty hard, but it gets easier over time, right? And then there is another thing that is hard, which is skin tones. It's the hardest thing you can imagine, honestly, because you see, skin is very reflective. You see here, like my nose is like white, basically, compared to my cheeks, compared to my, other parts of my face, and how even my body, right? My arms, my chest, etc. Right? So the thing is, the color variation of skin tones is incredibly hard to paint. And me personally, I'm 19 and I haven't studied art. So I learned by practice, right? I practiced, I did a lot of paintings, and eventually I found the technique that works for me, right? The techniques, actually, should I say. So this is what I'm going to show you in this video. So if you think that watching this video will make you become like, will really, really, really make you become immediately good at painting, then you're probably wrong, all right? That's probably not going to happen. You need a lot of practice. You have to practice this a lot. And I don't know, I can't speak for this because I never had it, but perhaps if you think that like formal education, maybe a teacher or something can actually help you, then maybe, check out a course or something. But me personally, I think that the best way would really just be by practicing yourself. Also, you don't have to exactly do what I'm doing here, because it's just not really, it's not the right mentality to have. I used to do it too. When I started, drawing and painting, I shit you not, I literally used to like, watch like YouTube videos and like follow each stroke of like pencil or brush of the guy in the video. And, in the end, I really didn't learn anything. I didn't learn anything because I just didn't try myself, right? I wasn't really trying. I wasn't really practicing. I was just copying what the guy was doing, hoping that would make me become a good artist all of a sudden. So that's just not the right thing to do. You have to practice. I would say the best thing would be watch this video, right? I tried to show as well as I could how I paint skin tones, and I tried to make it as clear as possible, right? But you shouldn't like do exactly what I do. Take like some ideas from what I do and then try yourself, right? Do a lot of paintings, start maybe small, right? Start with smaller paintings, or big, whatever you're comfortable with, right? And try yourself, try to come up with your own techniques, with your own, let's say, tips and tricks and hacks and whatever. That's probably the best thing, really. That's how you're gonna like benefit from this video the most, I think. So without further ado, let's get to the video. So let me show you how I do it. Let me show you. So as you can see, this is already like an oil painting that I'm currently painting. And as you can see, as I said, the skin is not all the same. As you can see here, it's like very light. Here it's a bit darker. The values change, the color changes, the warmth, everything changes, like here, as you can see, the highlights here are almost white, while the shadows are more like, when you do like shadows, you have to go on the, usually like more like red. At least that's what I personally like to do, because, skin usually, when the darker it gets, the more reddish it gets. So that I've seen that works, but who knows? I mean, sometimes the reflection can be a bit bluish, and so the shadow can also be a bit bluish. But as you can see here, like there is a huge difference between this hand and this hand right here. However, at the same time, this hand has like these highlights because it's very reflective. So it's like white here. So as you can see, it's like very, very, very different. And it's like it's very varied, right? variated. So the brush that I like to use to paint skin tones is a 220 round brush, and I suggest you also use a round brush kind of like this one that is not like pointy or anything. It doesn't have to be pointy, all right? Actually, if it's not pointy, it's better because it just, you know, it basically like blends the colors together more neatly. You know, it blends them more easily. So I think that this is like the best one. A lot of people also like to use dagger brushes. A lot of people like to use also angled brushes like hold on a second, like this brush right here. And I mean, it really depends on, you know, the style of your painting. Some people just like to paint more you know, picturesque, less realistic, you know, oil paintings. And, you know, if you want to get more of an impressionistic perhaps style to your painting, then definitely go for this one. But if you want to paint a really realistic oil painting, then I would say the best choice is a round brush. Not too big, not too small, just, you know, the size that you need, right? Now, the way that I paint the skin tones, and I'm not going to paint it right here because I'm pretty sure that if I actually painted it, first of all, it would be very long because it takes me hours to paint one of these, you know, the skin tones, and it will also take you probably hours if you want to get a very realistic oil painting. And I could time lapse it, but I think that it would be very hard to follow, and it would probably be very unclear. So what I'm going to do, and I think you will understand it more, is just I'm just gonna, you know, move my brush here and show you pretty much like the steps that I did in you know, to paint these hands. And again, they're not finished yet, but they're almost finished. So I think that they're a good example. So I started painting the hand by painting the skin tones of the hand by painting the this color right here, which is almost like a bluish red, I would say, like almost like a purple, like a really faded purple. And I would say that the best way to start an oil painting is probably by starting with the shadows, or at least like the darker colors, and then move to, you know, lighter and lighter colors until you reach the highlights. This is usually the best thing because like that, the highlights basically, they don't get merged with the you know, with the shadows and all the other colors. A really important thing that you have to keep in mind while painting while painting skin tones is that you have to paint pretty quickly. This doesn't mean that you have to paint like, you know, in like a minute, but try to paint, I would say, in one day. That's usually the best thing because then the paint dries up and you can't merge the you know, the paints anymore. You can't merge the oil paint anymore. And this is why also it's very important, in my opinion, to use oils instead of using the using acrylics, because acrylics just dry up way too fast, and, you know, you basically have to, like, you know, basically do a speed run of, you know, the painting, and it's just, it's really not, I can assure you, it's not a good idea. So definitely go for oils, in my opinion. Now for the highlights, what I like to use is a finer brush like this one. This is a 520 round brush, and I think it's pretty good because you can just get really small details but still get a fairly, I would say, round shape, and that's really good. Usually all the highlights on the skin are kind of rounded, so it's really good to get, you know, I think that this brush is really good for that, so I would go for that. Now, a really important thing when you're painting skin tones is really just choosing the right colors. And so let me show you just right now what colors I use, and I'm going to show you right now on my palette. So let me show you. Now, the only thing that I'll show you that I think will actually be helpful for you to, you know, paint skin tones is how I personally merge, you know, colors together, how I blend colors together on the palette. So I use the same brush that I used to paint, which is my, you know, 220 you know, round brush. I think it's really good. A lot of people like to use the palette knife. I personally don't like to use the palette knife. I think that a lot of paint gets wasted, and personally I don't like it. I like to use the brush directly. I think it's more quick. Do you use the palette knife, or do you also use the palette brush? Let me know. You know, maybe we can learn from each other. So the colors that I use to paint any skin tone in all the paintings that I paint are all here. So I have the red that you're seeing here is hold on a second, cadmium red. This red right here is light oxide red. The yellow that you're seeing here is azo yellow light. I didn't even know its name, honestly. And the orange that you're seeing here is yellow ochre. So this is pretty much all you need. Oh, and raw umber. You actually need that one. And ivory black and titanium white. So you need these colors. You can also have primary blue, which is right here. Yeah, you do see it. So you definitely probably need the primary blue. So the way that I paint, the way that I mix these colors is very simple. So let's say that I need a kind of, well, I'll show you just a photo, actually. I think it's better. So let's take this photo of Billie Eilish, for example. And I think this is a really good photo because there is a lot of reflection on here. And I'm going to show you exactly how to paint this and how, trust me, it's going to look good. And it's always going to look good. This technique, like, you can literally paint anything you want, like any skin tone that you can imagine. This is not a voiceover thing. I'm actually talking with a microphone. So yeah. So basically you just take a photo and, you take a photo like this one. It has to be clear, by the way. A lot of people, they use like, pretty blurry photos or stuff like that. That's just not going to work. You need like a good photo, right? This is a good photo. Usually preferably with a lot of contrast, but whatever. So as you can see in this photo, the shadows are basically black. The mid, colors are, I would say, normal, pink, pinkish, whatever. And the highlights are blue, really, blue and light blue. So here on this palette, we have absolutely everything we need to paint this photo. So I'm actually going to clean it up a second. By the way, I clean up the palette with like a little piece of cloth here, and I just put a bit of oil mineral spirit on it, and as you can see, it just gets rid of the fresh paint. So yeah, I don't know, maybe you guys can find this helpful as well. But let's say they want to paint the her cheek, like the low, the rose, like rosy color of her cheek. That's actually pretty simple. So you take a bit of, a lot of like YouTubers show you that you have to paint a certain, like, you have to paint a certain skin tone and then, bounce it from them. I personally, I don't think so. I don't think you have to do it. I think it's a waste of time and also a waste of paint. And don't forget, oil paint is pretty fucking expensive. So, if you can save it, I mean, thank me later, you know what I mean? So what I would suggest you do is really just, you have to take the idea out of your mind that it's skin, and you have to just paint what's in the photo or in front of you or whatever. Like, it's just color, all right? And you have to match that color. That's your, that is your fucking objective, and you have to do it, all right? So that's, let's say that's, I mean, from what I can see, as far as I see it, it's basically a mix between red, gray, and a little bit of blue. So it's almost like a grayish purple, pretty much extremely light grayish purple. So what we're going to do is very simple. So you start with any color you want, all right? You start with the, that is close to that thing, that is from, let's say, the family of that, the painting that you're trying to reproduce. So let's say that we start with a bit of red. Doesn't have to be a lot, by the way, but let's just take a little bit just so you guys can see it well. Can you guys see it? Hold on a second. Let me see if you guys can see it. Yeah, let's zoom in a bit so you guys can see it. Come on, there you go. So we have a little bit of red here, and it can be any red, honestly. Like as long as it's a it's a good red that is I would say either primary red or this is what is this already? Cadmium red. This is fine, all right? So we use a bit of red here, and it really depends on the photo you're using, but for this photo in particular, we're going to use this. Then we need to make it lighter immediately. The first thing that we have to do is make it lighter, because clearly there it's a lot lighter than, you know, our red. Our red is a lot darker. So I took a bit of titanium white here on the brush, on the tip of the brush. So we're going to put it here. And as you can see, it's still too dark. So what we're going to do is very simple. We're going to take even more white, like this, more of it. And now it's starting to get already kind of close, but not yet. It's too, let's say, reddish right now, right? So what we're going to do is that we're going to bring it closer to the value that we need. So we're going to use a bit of blue, take just a little bit of blue. We're going to put it here. And as you can see, it's already pretty much the color of her cheek, just a little bit lighter. So a bit more titanium white, but right here. And there you go. Honestly, this one right here is already the color of her cheek. And really, that's pretty much it. You know, there's no, like, a lot of people just, when they think about, you know, painting skin tones, they immediately think that it's super hard. And yes, it is kind of hard, you know, to get used to it, to practice it, but you have to practice it a lot to get good at it. But as you can see, once you get good at it, it really, you know, comes almost automatic. So you just have to practice it a lot, and it will get easy, even for you, right? It just gets easy for everyone. So yeah, if you want to paint, you know, let's say that you want to paint the shadow there, you know, on like her dimples, on the dimple of that same cheek. What you do is that you take a bit of ivory black. You know, a lot of people just have this idea that like using black is like bad, but that's just an internet bullshit. You can use black, just don't, you know, overuse it, you know, and, you know, make it lose all the, you know, the saturation of your color or whatever. But it's really just a stupid thing that some people say, that, you know, using black is just a forbidden color. That just makes no sense. You know, using any color too much will ruin your color. It's just a ridiculous point. So you put a bit of black here on that same color that you have, and there you go. You already have the shadow that is in the painting there. Maybe a little bit more blue, and that's pretty much it, really. This is already the that, you know, it's that color of the dimple, and really that's it. You know, even the blue or whatever, you don't know how to paint, just paint blue. All right, there is nothing else to it. You literally just have to paint what's in the photo. All right, if you see like the blue, you know, highlight, whether it's blue or green or whatever, just make the color as close as the color in the photo, and it will work. In the end, it will work. It will look exactly like in the photo. So yeah. So I hope you all found this video helpful. I hope that now you have a clear idea of how to paint skin tones. I know that you know, it's pretty hard to paint skin tones. I get it. I used to be very confused on how to paint skin tones, but I hope this made it a bit clearer. If you have any question, please do let me know in the comments. I will try my best to respond to all of them. You know, I read all of your comments, and I really do try to respond to all of them, and I usually do. Thank you all very much for subscribing. It's absolutely nuts. In like less than a month, well, something like a month actually, we're already at almost 1,000 subscribers. And you know, I've read your opinions on the poll that I posted, asking if I should post, you know, art videos only in the form of shorts, or only in the form, you know, both like longer videos and shorter videos. And you know, I want to keep this this channel mainly an art channel, so I will post mainly just things about art. I will indeed also post some things on the side, but mainly just about art. And I will post longer videos, you know, about art, like this video right here. And so yeah, I've seen that you all want that, and I think it's great. So thank you all very much for subscribing. Thank you all very much for your support, both on Patreon and on with one-time donations. They all really help a lot. Please like this video if you liked it, if you found it helpful. I don't know if like this video was exactly what you thought it was going to be when you read the title, but I thought that this, I really tried my best to like to explain it in the clearest way, at least in my opinion. If I thought that if I painted the actual painting, I thought that it would become, maybe you would have just looked at me painting and tried to do exactly what I did, stroke by stroke, like I used to do. And that's pretty much what I see in all the other tutorials. And people in the comments, they have that complaint. Everyone is saying, oh, I tried to do the same thing that you did, but I didn't find the photo or whatever that the guy used in the tutorial. So they really just tried to do the same exact thing that the painter did in the tutorial, and that's really not a good thing. Also, I used to do it, so I know how people try, right? So I hope that this was more helpful, and thank you very much. Thank you all very much. So see you guys in the next video. Yeah.